This is Snakes and Otters, a pointless discussion of eternal questions. Get ready. We're about to live in your head rent-free.
Greetings, Otterites. This is episode 238. I am Martin.
And I'm Robert.
I'm Francis.
I'm Marcus.
I'm Andre.
And I'm Cajun.
Outstanding. Got the whole crew together here.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the parlor here at Studio A. Brother Andre's breakfast was delicious, and it's time to get some work done, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So we are doing another in our series of directors, and this is one that I insisted upon doing, but I may have made a mistake because apparently no one else but Francis really recognizes his work. So hopefully we can wing this and get something going.
Yes. Note my restraint in not saying imagine that when he said I insisted.
Mm-hmm.
So we are working on Michael Mann. So Michael Mann is a contemporary of some of the other guys we've talked about, James Cameron, Ridley Scott. So he
80s, 90s, 2000s mostly.
Yeah. So a little bit younger than, say, like a Martin Scorsese,
Milius or
somebody
the
that
next generation after
that cinema verite group, but very much in that spirit. Mann's primary inspiration was Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, the Giant, which we've not done a Kubrick episode. We really probably need to.
Kubrick, yes, because I mean that vision influenced tons of filmmakers since then. So
just to put you on the spot a little bit on that, when you speak of Kubrick, are you talking about 2001 Kubrick? Or are you talking about something else?
Well, I believe for Michael Mann, it's more Dr. Strangelove.
Okay, because
that kind of thing.
Well, see, because he did Spartacus, and yet he did Dr. Strangelove, and he did 2001. He's done so many things, and yet he did that. His last one was Eyes Wide Shut with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, which was, it was still Kubrick, but it was like, really?
Well, I mean, Full Metal Jacket is Kubrick.
Well, that's right. That's what I'm saying. When you say Kubrick. Oh, that's a hard road to tote.
Well,
but Clockwork Orange is Kubrick. I mean, that's
most of what you
that
get
movie is
out
weird.
of Kubrick, as far as a lot of the influence goes, is the cinematography end of it.
Okay, all right,
and that really carried on into Mann's style of doing things.
There's the answer.
Wide action shots, very well picked out scenes. Influencing, bringing the scenery, the street scenes and everything into the movie.
Yeah. Or the vistas themselves, like as in Last of the Mohicans, which is,
Exactly.
So, let's talk about a couple of the films, and we'll start with Last of the Mohicans, because I know I can count on Francis to carry me here.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, Cajun knows this one real well,
that's
too.
the one I look at the whole list. That's the main one that stood out to me. I mean, that story is so visual and broad-ranging, all the way down to the basic of human emotions on what they're trying to do in that, with the historical factors thrown in. It is an epic movie to me. That falls into the epics of our time.
It is, and it's a later epic, too, because you're talking about 1992, where most of that stuff, you just didn't do that in those days, and yet he got this one made, which really shouldn't have been made in many respects, because it's so beautiful.
I would imagine it was a hard sell.
It was.
Go to the studio and say, hey, I want to take this novel from the 1830s that has already been made into movies.
That's right.
And do a modern one.
That's right. And
I'm sure they looked at him like, come on, dude, really?
Well, interesting fact about that stunning visualization of the forest scenes and so forth that was not an old growth forest. That was a new growth forest that's been planted in our lifetime that was used.
And most of that was filmed in the Smoky Mountains.
Yes.
Chimney Rock and other places like that. But that type of areas and appearance was not that dissimilar from where the actual book took place. It's kind of odd because Cooper's book, while it was a huge sensation when it came out, had really kind of seen as an anachronism. It was like, well, we've done Westerns since then. Why are we going back to that? It's just not that interesting. Cooper's prose is very flat, but he had the brilliance to take on something uniquely American before anybody else did, because he's writing before Moby Dick, he's writing before Twain, and all the rest of the stuff that would make the American way.
Yeah, the
of
American
writing.
novel. He's
the originator of that. That's right, and it was
James Fenimore Cooper.
But it's so out of date, and to go back to the to the French and Indian War essentially. But I think one of the reasons that Mann deserves the credit for this. Let me lay it out.
Yeah.
He's the one that ran the show, and the visuals are still some of the most stunning that have ever been put on film.
It's a beautiful film.
It is that's a very good way of putting it. It is a beautiful film. He took what could have been a very flat story, and he humanized it mostly on the strength not only of his direction, but he cast brilliantly.
Well, and that's one of the films that Daniel Day-Lewis made his reputation on. Like, to this day, I don't know what Daniel Day-Lewis looks like.
Oh, well, yeah.
Because he so absorbs himself into these parts that he takes on.
Well, he had already won his first Oscar at this point because My Left Foot had already come out. But he doesn't even look like himself there. But he was at the point, he's still young enough, he's still hungry enough that he could lead an action picture, essentially. Because
it's an action picture and a love story.
That's correct, and that's one of the reasons.
Lord knows anything with Madeline Stowe is
and that's where I was going to go too. That was the movie that really made her career. And she doesn't have a huge long list of movies that she's done. That is the one that most everybody remembers because she just absolutely nails it.
Casting an Englishman as an Indian.
Well, at that time, anybody who spoke English was an Englishman, so it's appropriate.
Yeah, okay.
But Stephen Waddington played the Major Duncan Hayward, and he comes across as very, very English because he is, and he's not done a lot of other things. He was in early episodes of The Tudors, which I saw. This is 15 years later, and he still is very, very good at what he does. I'm surprised. I wish he had done more roles because I really liked the way he did it. But Madeline Stowe and Daniel Day-Lewis together had this amazing chemistry.
Well, this movie had something for everybody, literally. You can say this. If you couldn't find something you liked about this movie, whether it was the love story, the action scenes, the stunning visualizations of the outdoors, I mean, it had something most anybody could find enjoyable at some point in this movie.
American Indians played by American Indians. I mean, wow.
And I want to give extreme credit to Wes Studi, who is one of the greatest actors around and always has been. This was probably his breakout role. He did quite a few things after that. He led A Picture, for God's sakes, Geronimo, an American Legend, a few years after this. Having an American Indian lead movie, that don't happen. But it did, and the movie was.
Michael Mann used him again
effectively. Yes,
used him again in Heat.
Right. See, and that's one of the reasons when you find somebody that you work well with, because Studi, I think his portrayal of the villainous Magua was so evil, and yet so human.
Yep.
That you can't help but just be mesmerized. By the performance he gives, because you don't know why he is the way he is until he explains it later. And then you realize, well, yeah, this guy here has gone off the departure. I mean, he hates so much, that's all he is. And he sells it. He absolutely sells it. And that's a tribute to Mann and his ability to put all this together. And, the climax is still one of the very best. The chase scene through Chimney Rock. And you let Russell Means, who is, an American Indian activist, who plays Chingachgook, ironically, the hero doesn't take down the villain. The father of the murdered man, Uncas, takes him down, which is it kind of brings it back full circle to say this is not the white cat versus the black cat. This is not the good versus the evil. This guy must be removed.
Let's not forget that historic shot too to show mercy. When somebody was being burned at the stake, basically.
Oh, yes. I'm glad you mentioned that, too, because that is very unpalatable in many, many, many ways. You just don't do that.
I found it quite appropriate.
Well, on screen, you just don't show somebody being burned alive. Yes, the movie's rated PG-13. That's very...
I thought you meant the shot being unpalatable.
No. I mean, by this point, you can do that. That's not a problem. But, showing somebody that's actually being burned... Because this is accurate to the book, but it's like, how do you do? You don't show the American Indians as savages. But at this point, political correctness is you just don't do that. The beauty of the story and the way Mann directs it is, the Native Americans are just like anybody else. There's good and then there's evil, and then there's twistedness, and then there's all that sort of stuff like that. In the end, it comes out, there's good and there's evil everywhere. Mann effectively exploits that very, very well. But you're right, for Hawkeye to do a mercy killing to his enemy, essentially.
His adversary, I would say, would be a better choice.
You can make that.
Enemy.
Rival's a better word.
Well, that's very true.
Adversary, rival,
I was going to say, because Hawkeye could care less about Hayward, although Hayward absolutely fucking sorry.
Oh.
Detests
The
Hawkeye.
10:30 into the episode, there's a bleep we need to do.
Oh,
the agonizer, please.
Oh, yeah, please.
Agonizer.
Dude, you know how hard...
He's positioned as such he has to move to hit the button. Thank you. I am properly chastised.
All right. So what I would like to do, though, because you used the key phrase when talking about Mann's au viewer, okay?
Ooh, okay. Yeah, you probably got to give me that one.
Word boner.
Yeah.
And it's good versus evil.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because when we move from Last of the Mohicans to Heat, my favorite Michael Mann film, Manhunter is a close second. I do love Manhunter as well. The first appearance on screen of Hannibal Lecter character, the first adaptation of the Thomas Harris Silence of the Lambs stuff. But Heat famously features Al Pacino as Lieutenant Vince Hanna, LAPD, and Robert De Niro as Neil McCauley, leader of a crew, thieves and murderers, actually. And what comes through in those scenes is not so much the concern with good versus evil, but what the pursuit of your goals, whether they are good or evil, does to the individual.
Let's see.
Those eternal questions.
Yeah.
Yes.
That as a story that writes.
Right. As you talked about, the pursuit of whatever they were into twisted those characters. When you watch Heat, you see Vincent Hanna, and it talks about this throughout the film. He's on his third marriage. It's crumbling. He is his job, basically.
Yeah.
He's a cop that goes after tough crews. That's what he does. That's who he is. And he's got to always be on the edge all the time.
Right.
And he can't really be a real person to other people because he's always got to have that mindset of going after somebody.
You're the Heat expert here, and from what you described to me, reminds me very much so of another movie that I absolutely loved when it came out with Kurt Russell and Keanu Reeves called Point Break.
I remember that.
With the group of thieving adventurer bank robbers and Keanu Reeves, the
the
FBI
surfers,
agent chasing them. Not the remake. They remade that a couple years ago.
They did, that's right.
You're talking about Patrick.
You mean Patrick Swayze?
Yeah.
You said Kurt Russell.
Oh,
was he in that
too?
I don't think so.
Kurt Russell was not in it.
Okay,
but it's Patrick Swayze.
I always get those two backwards sometimes. Keanu Reeves was FBI agent.
Yeah,
Patrick Swayze was the leader of the robbery group.
Yeah,
bank robbers,
bank
so
presidential.
You've seen a lot of interaction, and
this is right at Swayze's
from not wanting anybody to get hurt at the beginning to the end, where everything went down the toilet, basically.
This is when Swayze was at the top of his game,
right?
And so he's unfortunately forgotten today in so many
probably
ways.
Influenced by Heat, then.
Probably so. I would say it probably is.
A lot of this goes back, I think. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here, but what I'm hearing is Mann understands the preeminence of character and goals in the story setup.
And what
but he's perverting the normally the trope is in most. Well, it's not really a trope; it's just a structure that when you're telling a story, your protagonist and your antagonist should have clearly understood or defined, whether they understand it or not, goals in mind for the story.
Right.
And this subverts that. This basically says those are the problem. The goals they have are so messed up that they can't stand.
He's showing you a lot that a crook and a cop are often two sides of the same coin.
Yes.
Which I think is a brilliant study, yeah.
Hold on. You said I'd like some clarity just because because I think that rule is valid for storytelling. It's not valid for real life necessarily.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. I'm talking about storytelling.
Well, maybe not anymore.
Yeah. Well,
At one time, you could have made an argument for it.
the you said the goals were messed up, defined messed up, as in good goals, bad goals, not clearly defined goals.
Oh no. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. When I say messed up, you're right. It's kind of ambiguous. No, it's intended to mean that they are not worthy. They are problematic. The goals are bad goals, as in they're creating bad things.
Okay, but let me ask you this though: are the goals still clearly defined?
That I have to turn to Martin on, because he knows Heat better than I do.
Or at least well defined enough for
Again,
the story.
We
I mean,
take Heat or Manhunter.
Yeah.
Manhunter's, again, a Thomas Harris story. So it's all about the FBI profiler Will Graham going after a serial killer called the Tooth Fairy. And again, so the goals only matter as where you're driving to.
Yeah.
For Mann, the real study is not what the goals are about. The study is how the person pursuing right and virtue and the person pursuing evil are so similar.
They follow the same path
They're
to different goals and different.
Right. It consumes them to the point where they're the same.
And,
Again,
and
that's
the operative word, consumes.
Yes.
And that's what I'm trying to say here, is that the pursuit of goals can be, whether the goals are virtuous or vice-ridden, is irrelevant. The pursuit of goals, just that pursuit, can be destructive.
Right. So, especially when you Manhunter, again, this is an early one of Mann's films, right after he did Thief. And if you've not seen Manhunter, you have to see it.
Yeah, it's been swallowed up by the Silence of the Lambs, the reputation. People forget that it even was a thing.
So, because it's been done again. It's been done under the title Red Dragon with Edward Norton, but under Mann's direction, again, it really is not so much a character study of the serial killer, which is where a lot of material would go now.
Yeah.
It's a character study of the pursuer, Will Graham, and this idea that he's so good at his job because he thinks the same way the serial killer does.
And that is a problem.
Yes.
As the story lays out.
How do you have a normal relationship with someone else? How do you have a wife? How do you have a son? And still have in your brain the way Hannibal Lecter thinks or the way the Tooth Fairy thinks. And add into that, again, you're talking about stylish visuals.
Yeah.
Swap the visuals of Last of the Mohicans to Washington, D.C., in the city, or Atlanta, or the inside of a suburban home. And it's those same stunning, wild visuals, the starkness between day and night. Like there's no dusk, there's no dawn, for Michael Mann. It's either black or white in the visuals sometimes.
And that's Kubrick. That's Kubrick's
so
influence.
that's a Kubrick influence. So Manhunter dates to about, I think it's like 86 or 87. William Peterson before CSI.
Yeah.
And he is intense.
Yeah, he is a underappreciated actor. I know he did Return to Lonesome Dove not long after that, and really stole the show.
who did he play?
In Return to Lonesome Dove?
No,
I just gonna say I knew you wouldn't ask that question.
in Manhunter.
In Manhunter, he's Will Graham.
Yeah, he's the protagonist.
Profiler.
Yeah.
He's the profiler. And it's he captures at the story of Manhunter is Lecter's already in jail because Graham caught him. Graham has retired from the FBI. Dennis Farina plays Crawford, the Scott Glenn part from later on.
Okay.
Crawford pulls him back in. Says, we just want you to look at the evidence, knowing full well Graham won't stop there.
Right.
He
He's a
goes
blunt instrument in many ways.
Yeah, he goes back to see Lecter.
Wind him up and let him go.
And Lecter says, you've come back to get the scent. That's why you're here. You don't need to see me to get the scent. You want the scent, smell yourself.
who played Lecter in that movie?
Brian Cox played Lecter.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Who is an amazing actor in and of himself.
Yeah, I mean,
That's right.
you talk about Anthony Hopkins playing Lecter. Well, Brian Cox isn't far off, brother.
Yeah, he's
Let me tell you,
he's
it
one
was-
of the best British
it was
actors ever.
Creepy as shit.
Yeah.
So all the performances are outstanding in Manhunter. It is. It's very famous for using the song "Inagata Davida." In the
Well, there's an
soundtrack.
accomplishment for you. How could anybody
so
use
Iron
that song for
Butterfly,
it?
is kind of this running thing for Francis Dollarhide, the Tooth Fairy or Red Dragon. He calls himself the Red Dragon, and the imagery is from William Blake.
Oh,
Okay.
See, I recognize that I'm missing something by not having watched that movie, but I'm not a big serial killer thing fan, so that's why I don't.
It's a pretty tremendous film, and again, you go right from that to say Heat in '96. Again, the performances, De Niro, Pacino, Tom Sizemore, what's his name,
Val Kilmer.
Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
Again, we always loved Kilmer from Tombstone, but his performance as Shaherless in Heat is also tremendous.
Yeah.
Like you completely buy him as kind of the number two guy in this crew led by De Niro. Ashley Judd plays his wife, and she was, quite good in a small part.
That's back when she was tolerable.
Her career was an earlier time for her career. She didn't.
Oh, she was just getting into
Just get
film
started,
just
yeah.
after her appearances, basically in Star Trek. I mean,
Oh yeah, you're
Heat's
right. Yeah.
'96, so I mean,
Oh,
it's a 28-year-old film now.
Thank you.
So, again, Tom Sizemore, Danny Trejo.
Well, Danny Trejo's been in so many things. That's right.
He's
The ultimate villain.
this is a really good speaking part for him too, because usually he's just kind of around
Well,
looking
sometimes
menacing.
anti-villain.
It's true. That's right. He's made a career.
And
he's-
he's certainly somebody to be respected from where he came from and what he's made of
Right.
himself.
Oh yeah,
He's also the ultimate grandpa.
Yeah.
yeah.
Spy Kids.
Yep.
Oh, that's true. That's
Yeah.
right.
He's done a number of wonderful things.
Oh, yeah.
Where he's the good guy.
And he basically got his break because somebody said, "Hey, can you teach these guys to act like they're really in prison?"
Yeah.
Knowing he had personal experience.
That's right.
And that's how he ended up acting.
Yep.
And
I love the story. Have you guys heard this one about when he first met? Now I can't think of her name. Mexican actress.
Salma Hayek.
Yes, he first meeting.
How
with
could you
Selma
forget
Hayek.
that?
How could you? I was about to say the same
I'm
thing.
having a rough day today. I don't know why.
I was going to say,
But,
yeah, because and that would be from dusk till dawn, I'm sure.
It was.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
as a matter
Get
of
on your
fact,
knees and worship.
he walked up to her and said something along the lines of, "I've known you forever."
Yeah.
Whereupon she's standing there kind of in shock, and he rips his shirt open. And when he was in prison, he had a tattoo done before Selma Hayek had done anything. And it's Selma Hayek on his chest. And he's like, "I've dreamed of you."
That's not creepy.
That's
That's borderline sexual
no,
assault.
I was gonna say,
As-
that's a serial killer
Selma
borderline
Hayek
there.
just loves him.
as passes
and
go. It ain't bad.
And as far as I know, everybody,
dedication.
That's
Everybody
right.
that's worked with him has said just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, and
things
he's,
to say about him.
yeah, because
Yes.
he is the real deal. He is
He
what
is.
you says he is. Yeah, yeah.
He's a good
The
guy.
tattoo becomes, prosecution's Exhibit A.
so yes, the trip to California that the wife and I are hoping to take. One of the stops is Trejo's Donuts.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, that's something we want to see. Of course, that appears in
The Bosch series.
Bosch. Yeah,
Yeah.
in Bosch.
Yeah.
They go there to hang out.
I've said it many times. L.A. is its own character, and that's some of the brilliance of Mike.
All good settings are their own characters.
Absolutely,
And then
that's
fine dining, don't try to miss Musso and Frank's either.
that's right. That's it.
That's in the Bosch books now. I don't think they ever mentioned it in the series from what you told me, Francis.
I don't see. I didn't. Don't say I didn't because I didn't pick it up.
But they've been in
But-
town for over 105 years, and the Brat Pack and the mobsters and everybody else is eating in that place. So said the best martini in town.
I didn't know them, so when I watched Bosch, I wasn't looking for it. I'm hopeful, especially when the series completes this spring, to convince Her Majesty to start over and go back to the beginning, because I think it's been long enough we can do this again. She doesn't do repeats, but I think I could make her do that one because it was so good.
Speaking of settings being their own character, over this Christmas holiday, I've been rewatching the Lord of the Rings trilogy,
Oh, wow.
and the vistas of New Zealand are
Yes.
impressive.
Peter Jackson probably deserves a great director's episode at some point.
Can we lay off the directors after this for a while?
Yeah.
We still have Howard Hawks to do. We still have Kubrick to
You
do.
got Kubrick.
I'm going to lock all you guys out of Trello. And I'm going to take control of the schedule.
All right.
All right. Well, we'll think of something else. Then I think we
How
have.
about great porn directors?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Well, that
I mean,
would be
we'll
a
get
change
into
up.
something. Let's
Or
make it really
or
interesting.
great porn actors.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That certainly would be a change up.
Which one successfully changed careers into the mainline stream?
I
I mean, there's
Were
a
you
whole lot of
asking? Oh, yeah,
possibilities
yeah,
there.
Well, Tracy Lords is the one everybody remembers.
Yeah.
Who
Okay.
started at the
Okay, back on subject.
maybe it's time for something.
Yes, that was.
It's a little early for that. It's only 26 minutes in.
No, let's go ahead.
Yes, because
Oh,
it's going to be a little
all
bit longer this time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
Well, we
may-
do have a
this-
special presentation for us too today.
We have Christmas to discuss. Everything.
Bourbon break.
All right.
Now go ahead.
All right. Yeah. So how about if we just turn this over to Cajun and let
Yes.
him roll with it?
Amen.
Well, we have a special bottle today. Luckily, the Emperor name was pulled out, and successful collaboration to the two of us made it to have it available here today. We have a little 10-year-old Pappy we've cracked.
Yes, unbelievable to be able to do that. And how many stores did you visit to get into that lottery?
14.
14.
We only got our names in 13 because some little punk-ass couple of kids ran ahead of us and got the 2 last tickets at that
We're
store.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Well, at that
probably
point-
the one you should have won.
It's probably it's probably one I was going to win. Yeah.
For
probably
those of us who may
23
not, for our listeners that may not know, I mean, we got a lot of folks in Singapore.
Yeah.
You know.
So Kroger grocery store prior to Thanksgiving held a or was it Thanksgiving?
It was Black
weekend?
Friday.
It was right
Thanksgiving
after.
weekend, Black Friday, held a lottery to get you get your name pulled at all the stores here, about 60 different stores here in the metro area, and
I think 39 of them were liquor store. Had the liquor stores.
and so if you got your name pulled, you didn't win a bottle of Pappy. You won the chance to buy
One of 6 bottles.
One
One
of
of the 6 expressions. Yeah.
Yeah.
At MSRP.
At
at
MSRP.
At MSRP.
yes.
And
Which
they-
is
Yes.
So each Kroger liquor store had one of each of the 6 Pappies.
Yes.
Well,
And
they,
they-
More
and
than that.
they were,
I mean,
they were distributing
they were-
total 1,000 bottles,
Yes.
and
So
it was
each store
12
drew
at
like
each store.
yeah.
Oh, so
Like
you
drew
weren't
12
just
names.
getting one. I mean, you have how many bottles they have, you're going to get that many names drawn.
Every one of them got the same distribution. As
Right.
far as the
Yeah, I
number
don't know
of bottles.
that. Well, yeah, and just because there was the 60 that in right here, that doesn't mean there weren't more farther out in the state and up into Indiana. I
It
think.
did
Yeah.
spread out across the state of Kentucky, but not into Indiana.
So, but yeah, there were quite a few, and the Imperator, the third place we stopped, is where his name was drawn.
That's right.
At least it wasn't the first.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of fun that day.
We had a wonderful evening. We had a good dinner.
Yes.
But I've done this for a number of years, and ironically, when they draw your name, they tell you what you have the
Yes.
opportunity to buy.
Which expression you'll have the chance to
Exactly.
buy. It's all kind of
And,
predetermined.
And we thought they were going to be calling on Saturday. We did this on a Friday
Yeah, I
night.
think some of them did on Saturday.
Some of them did on Saturday,
Yeah.
but I got a call at like 9 a.m. on the Monday after. And they're like, yeah, just come down and pick it up. I'm like, where?
A very
Yeah,
fair
which one?
Which one?
I'm not going to all 14 again.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless I can pick one up at all 14.
But it's kind of ironic because I celebrated 10 years of sobriety this year.
Yeah,
And
congratulations
and
again.
This is the one when this is the
You
one
won a
drawing I
10-year.
win a
Yeah,
10
so
year.
this one went in the barrel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right when you're swearing it off.
Yep.
But, a little changing of hands. It's gone
Yes.
on to Cajun's collection, which I know is impressive.
Yeah, and
Yes.
we're eternally grateful for being able to sample this here because he didn't say no. This is not going back on the shelf. He cracked it this morning, saying, "Okay, here, boys,
Well,
Yep.
And
let's
that,
see how
Sharing
this
is
goes."
caring.
Well,
That's
5
right.
out
What
of
can we
6
say?
of us.
That's right.
Didn't attempt to resell it secondary market.
And then Morton was kind enough to give us all nice gifts of
Yes.
glasses
glasses, very beautiful
engraved.
glasses.
Yes, I'm sorry,
Brotherhood
listeners. There are
of
only
Snakes
6 of
and
these in
Otters.
existence. Our own, the Brotherhood of Snakes and Otters. We have our own whiskey glasses, bourbon glasses.
So a
And,
special pour to start out the special glasses.
Yeah, what better?
What a
All
way
the
to
special
baptize these
kids on the
glasses.
short bus, I guess you'd say.
So it means a lot to me that you guys love the glasses.
Absolutely, yeah, that's right.
Phenomenal. I can't think of a better glass to pour a 10-year rip into. That's just fantastic.
And I
And
really
it
like
is
it.
excellent.
It is. I was going to say
excellent.
we haven't talked
Now,
about it yet.
is it worth the aftermarket overpricing of it? I'm not going to get into that politics.
I don't know that they're.
I would not say so.
no,
but
I don't
then-
think any of them
but-
are. I'm a.
Honestly, this is not the best bourbon that
It's kind of like
that
the
I've
De
ever had.
Beers Diamond situation. They made a marvelous advertising campaign with a limited supply of only what they wanted out there, just like De Beers did after World War II with the
Yes,
diamonds.
yes.
Yes.
And it has been quite successful.
It has.
Now, it is quite smooth. It is 107 proof.
Mm-hmm.
I am actually trying mine neat to start out with.
Mm-hmm.
And it's smooth. It's got a little heat to it, but nothing like what you would think a 107 would have. I'm getting some notes of cherry and a nice earthiness to it there. Like I say, somebody else mentioned chocolate when we first started, and that most definitely. What do y'all fellas think? Most of y'all started over ice.
I did, and it. We've all while you've been talking, we've kind of gone back and added where we have negligible ice left in our thing. So this is
As close to neat as
close
you
to
can
neat
get.
without actually being that. And
I can see where you get the cherries. I get that along the cheeks, back here around my teeth.
I didn't blow the ethanol off. I can taste it. Sorry, I should have known.
Yeah,
that.
you should always blow the ethanol off. If you
I
can,
usually
but-
do, but I missed it that time.
When I first tasted
Now, we're
it,
not doing the porn episodes yet. That's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
come
yeah.
later.
when I first tasted, I did get a bit of, and I did try to blow the ethanol off of the glass, but I did get a bit of that taste in my mouth, and I'm just walking right into these, and I appreciate the Imperator and Cajun not following up on those openings there. Again,
They were well noted.
yeah, good. But it while it is an excellent bourbon, has a great mouthfeel. Nosing the bottle before I poured mine was phenomenal.
Yeah, it does have a unique bouquet.
It was great. Now I maybe just because it's so concentrated coming out of the mouth of the bottle, but I don't get the nose didn't seem as good off of the glass.
I get a hug this time around when it's neat. I got none when
All
it
right,
was
see,
lit.
I got the hug. My hug is coming right.
Yeah,
right
I'm
here.
getting it now because it's I'm having it straight out. But when I did it, I had quite a bit of ice, and I guess it just didn't. It didn't. Maybe that bloomed it, and I just didn't. I didn't get any. It stayed in the mouth. It still stays in the mouth, but it
does.
doesn't stay there exclusively.
I mean, Pappy was always bourbon wise my favorite when I was still drinking, and I did drink a lot of it over the years. The 10 was the least favorite of mine out of the whole range.
Yeah.
I always loved the 23 better. These pair wonderfully with a good chocolate dessert.
I can see that.
It
Yeah, we
opens.
commented on that earlier. Yeah.
It opens the palate and the sinuses, everything, for whatever you're going to pair it with.
Yeah, whoever said it was Martin that said chocolate. I get the my last drink. I got the chocolate covered cherry experience.
Yes.
It does.
Because I got those together, which is normally I'm not big on chocolate covered cherries, but that was pretty good.
Yeah, I could not have picked that out, but now that you say it, I can see it. I can taste it. Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah.
And actually, not a common chocolate cherry, but had to be a nice dark chocolate covered
I can see
cherry.
that. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
To really bring it out, that little bit of bitterness in the dark chocolate would really sit well with it.
Andre, you haven't said anything.
Well, that's because I'm not drinking what you all are
I
drinking.
was just
Oh,
getting ready
that's
to turn
right.
it
You
over
drank something different. That's right.
because it is.
Today is a day a day of infamy in history. I have made one more orbit around the sun. Today is my birthday,
Amen.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday again.
Happy birthday.
And,
Officially online.
and as a gift, I was gifted a bottle of Old Forester 1910, and so to celebrate that, I enjoyed a glass of that. I will be trying the Pappy in 2 weeks on the next episode. But anyway, the Old Forester 1910 was exceptionally good. It had a wonderful mouthfeel, and it had a velvety taste on the mouth, no burn, wonderful flavor. And I was trying to identify the flavor. And the only thing I could come up with was caramel or caramel, depending on.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is kind of that milky caramel.
Yes.
Is one of the 1910 flavors.
Yeah.
But I always felt like the 1910 tended to stack the flavors. Like you'd get one and then there's another.
Yeah.
There's another.
Yeah, we
Well,
deliberated
if you come
a
from
long
south
way.
of the Ohio, it's caramel. If you come from north of the Ohio, it's caramel.
Anyway, so
True.
There
you go.
I think
Pecan and pecan.
going to Martin's point, I was trying to identify it, and I could pluck out a single note at a time, and that was the one that resonated the most on me. But
Yeah.
there are all other flavors that are just hiding behind the one that I'm
There's-
experiencing
yeah,
now.
I think there's like maybe a little touch of tobacco and a little woodsy after that, and so that 1910 is killer.
Yeah, it's
Highly
one of the
recommend.
very best. Yeah, yeah. That's why we settled on that one after some some serious considerations on lots of different things.
Yeah, so that's straight from the Holy Land.
Yeah, purchased at Evergreen Liquors, which
Bardstown?
yeah,
Yes,
it's in
in
Bardstown.
Bardstown, yeah.
And the three of us, founders founders in brackets, stopped in there. Had been out at Cajun's and been out to Log Still Distillery. That
Yes,
day.
I wanted to bring that up next because this is the fun fun piece here.
Yeah.
So, of course, Log Still is doing a collaboration with
The Archdiocese
The
of Louisville. That's
Archdiocese.
correct.
And it is literally in Cajun's backyard.
That's right.
Literally.
Yep.
and what's it called?
Essential.
Faithfully Crafted
Faithfully Crafted.
is
There
the name
are-
of the it's the Trinity Blend, and that's actually the name of this iteration. The Faithfully Crafted is the brand name, and when this one's gone, they only made 5,000 bottles.
Yes,
And
so-
that's when it's done. It's done. But they will eventually bring back, assuming this is successful, can bring back another one at some other point, maybe next year or something like. Of course, it's that'd be 26, I guess.
When do these hit the shelf?
They are. You can get them
There's
now.
only two
available.
locations.
Only two places to get
In my
them.
backyard and downtown.
That's right.
At the new restaurant.
You have to go to the distillery itself out in Nelson County, or you can go to the Log Still
Boiler House.
Yeah, that's right.
Boiler House.
Boiler
Yeah,
House
thank you.
Restaurant, which is on Main Street, downtown Louisville, Kentucky. Main and
Second and Main.
Second
Second
and Main.
in the basement.
Yeah, in the basement where the old Bear Nose by the Bridge used to be, which
That's
relocated
not
us.
there anymore?
They relocated. I know the folks that owned that, and they went ahead and they basically got a deal and they moved to another location. They're very happy there. They'd been by the bridge for a long, long time, so this gave them a chance to kind of re-energize the business, and it did. So it's not nobody loses in this. I have not been to the restaurant yet. It is just opened since October, I think.
Yes, it's very recent.
It is, and it is a high-end restaurant.
Yes.
Okay, so one of these days, in 2025, Her Majesty and I will have 35 years together, and I think that's where we're going to go.
And
That'll be a
add
good
1
choice.
0 after that, and that'll probably pay for your meal and drinks.
Okay, well there you go.
There you go.
So, yeah, that's about.
Approximately, maybe a little less.
That's right.
depending on what
35
you
very happy years.
Well, yeah. It's just at least in my case. I mean,
got. Happy,
you should ask.
interesting, perplexing, complex. Never mind. I know this is.
You know the missus. That's correct.
Well, we all know
We
the
all
missus.
know the missus. That's
We all
correct.
know
Yes, Wally Dent's inexorable march to conquer the world continues.
Wally Dent Jr. Actually, that's
yes.
correct.
Junior.
His father was both first a deacon and then a priest.
Yes.
And passed away, I think, too early.
Yes.
He was diabetic
Yeah.
at St. Thomas out in Nelson County, but was well beloved.
And
Wasn't
he
one of
was
your
all-
weddings at St. Thomas?
Yes.
Yes,
It was.
okay,
That's correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I knew Wally Senior
Yeah.
from UPS.
That's right, because he
was-
before he was ever a deacon. I
he
mean,
was with Air Region for
he-
years.
that's right. He was one of the head honchos at the U.S.
head
UPS
of Air
hub
Region.
here, and was very well respected throughout the community. But he believed. And his roots, of course, are in Nelson County. His grandfather is the one who ran the Dant Distillery, which is the same property that now Log Still is on. They rebranded.
Oh, I didn't know it
themselves.
was the same property.
It is the same property, same distillery. I mean, the water tower is the same one that was there in the 40s when my grandfather worked there.
Yeah.
I just presumed that the original had been sold off when they had done all of that.
They kept the
the
property,
property.
but they could not.
Keep the name.
They could not
They
keep
sold
the
the
name.
name to Heaven Hill.
That's
So
right.
J.W. Dan is a Heaven Hill product.
That's right. And they tried to get it back, and of course, Heaven Hill said, "No, come on, no, sorry,
Right. Not enough money for
no
that.
takebacks." You know, so that's why they came out with Monk's
Yeah,
Road.
but that brand is not that big a seller.
And
I
you're
would
right.
think,
That-
for them.
I-
I mean,
you know,
it's a minor
It's-
bottle in their
I think-
entire lineup.
Yeah,
my
that's a
opinion, I
$12
think
bottle.
they saw that Wally was very good at what he does, and if he got that brand name back, that would harm their sales, and they might. And I think they were probably right.
Yeah, I
Because
think that's fair. Yeah.
I think because Monk's Road is kicking butt and taking names for all the right reasons, and that's because Wally knows what he's doing, and they're branching out very well. They have a line of vodkas under the same brand. They have several gins and also
Tennessee whiskey.
Tennessee
Snap
whiskeys.
right on the roll, baby.
The big thing that they've done is they have turned Log Still into a destination.
yes.
Yeah,
Just
summer
something-
outdoor
the
concerts
concerts-
with fairly big names coming through
Exactly.
there because Wally Jr. had a lot of connections down in Nashville.
That's right.
From where he worked for one of the regional medical
I don't
down
know.
there.
That's a
I
good
believe
question.
it was like CO level or something for one of the medical bits down there and so forth. So he had a lot of interaction with the Nashville entertainment scene. And
That's
so
right. So
forth.
that's-
It was
he's
my
able-
understanding what I was told. I don't know how
He was able
accurate
to
that
do
is.
something, I think, that Heaven Hill and the other distillers only wish they could do, is create a destination for people that is
and has
bigger
a wedding
than.
venue on site
That's
now
correct.
with the full catering services and everything. They do very good meals and so forth.
Yes,
at
you've done
certain
several
times on
dinners
the
there with
property.
Ms.
I've been-
Cajun.
Last year they had some themed dinners over the hardest part of the winter. It doesn't look like they're going to have them this year, or they're going to be coming in here after the first of the year. I have not heard yet for certain.
It'll be interesting
But we
to see
went
where
to a
this goes.
Brazilian steakhouse themed dinner.
Yeah,
We went to a New Orleans themed dinner,
Right.
and they had another one or two. I think there might have been 4 in the series, but I got to a couple of them. They were just wonderful.
well, we
They have an
wish him
excellent chef
every
up there.
success. We wish him
So-
every success and support him to the hilt completely.
So I think we do need to talk about one thing that's very unique about this.
Yeah.
And this is a rabbit hole I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on, but we could. And we would almost have to bring
And we will.
we would almost have to bring my pastor on the show to really get into this. So the interesting thing about this bourbon is that this is not just this is and it is a fundraiser for the archdiocese, but it's not like they're saying, all right, well, we're going to do these 5,000 bottles of bourbon and we're going to donate X amount of it or all of the profits or whatever to the archdiocese. No. This is a co-sponsored thing with the archdiocese. The actual seal of the archdiocese is on this bottle.
It is.
The thing which is a very unique thing, and has been pointed out, this is a little bit different than, like monks selling cheese and beer and what have you to support themselves. That it's a little bit different because, that's an individual community. This is literally a successor of the apostles engaging in commerce.
With an intoxicating
What is the
beverage.
difference? What is the difference between that and the local bingo game at the parish? It's developed to raise funds to support the church.
See, I cannot articulate it as well as my pastor.
That's because he's a canon lawyer.
Yeah, he's a canon lawyer.
Don't hold that
But
against
it is. You can make the argument that it is very problematic for someone that represents not just a particular individual community, like a parish that has bingo, to not just endorse but sponsor a product that is, generally speaking, is considered even when as we do, a mild vice. For some, it's much more than a mild vice. His joke is, buy a case, get a free sabbatical.
And it's worth buying it by the case because, as some of your listeners may remember, my uncle was on back in September during Bourbon Fest episodes, and I took a bottle up to him for Christmas, and of course we opened it right there Christmas Eve. And it's very smooth, very tasty.
As expected.
and
As I said, Wally knows what he's
gonna
doing.
be getting some more, but to
They
sit
really
back
did a
with
good
that
job with
limited
this.
supply.
This
I
was
think
not
I might have to put
just-
a case in reserve.
This is not just the bourbon squeezings left over. They actually did some really good
Oh,
stuff.
they did
Right.
an excellent
That's
Yeah.
mix on
I
this
just,
one.
I think it is interesting
I'm
though.
going to respectfully disagree and say I don't have a moral problem with the Archdiocese going out and endorsing something as a fundraiser.
It's not endorsing. They're like I said,
Producing
I mean, it is literally engaging in
commerce.
commerce in a way. And again, I bought a bottle, and I will happily drink that bottle. He got a bottle, as he put it, for evidence, so that because let's be honest. There are a number of priests that have gone on sabbatical.
That needed
well,
healing.
yeah. His joke was very pointed, and
Exactly.
and because and to go back to what I think the root issue of this is, alcoholism is a terrible problem and always has been in our society. I for certain know this,
Absolutely.
as you all know,
too.
and
Most societies, actually.
in
if
most
you wanna
society,
be pointed
correct.
about it.
And so there is the question about is I will submit this, being in the position that I am and knowing what I do, because I work with pastoral care on that. There is no one more committed to healing broken families through addiction or other issues than the church. And there are plenty. I mean, the government is, is ridiculous in comparison. That doesn't even begin
Right.
to do it because they
But
have
I think
no heart
that's his
for it.
point. Is
Is
that
that
it's a
we're-
little speaking out of the other side of your mouth to be incredibly fair about
if
it.
we're spending so much time and effort to heal those who are broken by
Right.
alcohol,
I mean, how many parishes host AA meetings?
and
A lot.
and many others.
fair number of
Well,
them.
and it goes back to I guess what gets to the.
And I'm not saying I'm necessarily against it either.
And
I'm just saying I do see his point.
Well, if,
what I'm
if
seeing
some are-
is that. Give me 2 seconds here, Andrea, because I don't want to interrupt you, but we have a tendency to jump in.
Yeah. But this is important. This
It
is important.
I do believe the fact that the church does not take a stance on this issue, on this product, as morally either one way or the other. It is not immoral. It is not moral. It is
I
morally
think-
neutral. The product. And it is the usage of that, which is, if it becomes problematic, we deal with it. But for so many, it is not. Which,
And-
which
and-
of course, that brings that
Yes.
proves the point is
Well,
that
but
the
I
product
think-
itself can be and often is, but is not always. And there is the wiggle room, the moral wiggle room. I think that we're
Well, it's going to be interesting. He's drafting a letter to the Archbishop, and I know he will send it to his deacons before it goes to the. Well, maybe at the same time it goes to
for
the
your
Archbishop.
approval.
No, but he keeps us in the loop on all these
That's
things.
definitely- That's right. But I want to get back, Andre. I didn't want to interrupt you.
yes.
I'm sorry.
The argument was presented that it might be immoral because the church is engaging in commerce. I'll bring up the point. If we don't engage in commerce, it's not just producing that is engaging in commerce, it's also consuming. So unless we are going to produce everything that we use in the church, then we're engaging in commerce by consuming things.
So use the term mercantilism then, however you want to, because yes, everything is commerce when you're exchanging one good for another, whether it be cash or trade. But it's just, I think it's a little more, I don't see it as big a problem, but then, I'm not a canon lawyer, and I am also not the adjutant judicial vicar who, he's one of the high muckety mucks, number two in the tribunal. So part of his job is to point this stuff out.
I'm glad I'm arguing him without him being here because he would probably decimate me in the
Well,
terms of
absolutely.
He's very good at it.
He's very good at
Yeah,
that.
But also,
I mean, we are all brilliant, but we are a step below that man.
Well, there's truth to that. I think where this would land is ultimately to go down the path that he would say. The church is notoriously likes to leave things ambiguous because they don't want to take pronouncements on things
Yes.
that might that's their way. I get that. There's a wisdom to that. Essentially, what you would be doing if you go down the path that he's suggesting would be they would take a stand on the issue itself, which they've never done, and which would lead us far closer to that, dare I say, Baptist approach of, well, it's demon rum, it is
Right.
evil in all cases, and thou shalt not.
Well,
We've never gone there.
but what he's saying,
Would we be doing such if we went the way he wishes?
well, no, but what he's saying, because that's not what he's saying. He is saying, though, that by sponsoring this product, by putting the seal of the archdiocese,
You're
you know,
essentially endorsing.
you are going down that path by saying that is a good thing.
Yeah, on the opposite
opposite
side.
side.
That's
side.
correct.
So
As
it
opposed-
is not staying. His opinion, it is not staying neutral.
It should be laissez-faire.
Oh, he would never use that term.
I know he wouldn't. That's
He
why I said
hates
it.
that term.
I know. That's why I said it. Because it's not.
Yes,
that,
he is sometimes blind to
it
his
is
own.
not that far removed from that.
But it is not. Yeah,
That's right. It is. Yeah.
It is
he
not.
could probably articulate why it's not
Yes.
that, but it's very close. It's a kissing cousin, as we say out in Nelson County.
It is a very serious issue with the United States,
Yes,
as
it
far
is.
as worldwide.
It is correct.
It is.
Tens of thousands of people are killed in drunk driving accidents every year.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, now granted, I'm a recovering alcoholic, 10 years now, and
here.
My home group, I'm here only due to the fact that 3 people had to die to offer me livers, and at least possibly another 3 died who didn't get those livers.
That's right.
Yes,
Now my liver disease was not due to alcoholism,
Right.
but
of course, because that is never how you would get.
yeah, exactly.
cirrhosis
I
of the
can't, I
liver.
can't do anything the normal way.
Right, right.
But every year, my home group or one of the gentlemen in our home group decides he's going to host meetings. They have alcohol alcothons at a number of the various AA organizations
Define,
around
please.
the U.S. An alcothon is for the holidays. They will do like starting early Christmas Eve and go all the way through over Christmas night. They'll have the token club open. That's what AA centers are. A lot of them are called.
Right.
And they will host meetings every hour around the clock.
Oh,
Food
okay.
will be served
Yes,
and what have you.
to provide the maximum amount of support
So
for the
support for
recovery.
people.
To give you a
Same-
place to
same-
go
Exactly.
that is safe.
Because
It's
of the
safe.
temptation of the holidays and
And-
lots of directions.
And the
Brilliant.
stressors.
Yeah,
of
The
oh,
stressors,
holidays.
yes,
yeah.
especially the stressors.
They also do the same thing on Thanksgiving,
Right.
and they do the same thing on New Year's Eve.
Oh, yeah.
And my home group sponsors the meetings at midnight on those. And there weren't a lot of people there, but the 2 people that did come in, additional
Yeah.
people that came in at that midnight meeting on Christmas morning, had come in because the road about a block down from where the token club was there on Breckenridge,
Yeah.
there was a drunk driving accident, head-on collision that had blocked both lanes. And they couldn't get through and were triggered by that, immediately turned around, headed straight for a
It
meeting.
went to the right thing.
Because and there's a lot of support. And there are a lot of churches that
There
that
is.
support
There
AA
are many of
groups
those,
and
and the laws have. I mean, the laws have been changed in Kentucky in
They
particular
have.
to reflect this.
Yes.
And I mean, all you have to do is go to a traffic school, and I think we've probably all been.
I've never been to traffic school.
Wow, I've been several times.
I have.
He just pays the
Well, you've
tickets.
got- have you
I haven't
considered
gotten a ticket in.
It's been a long time for me, but
have
20
you
years.
There was a
considered
time.
getting a
Knock on
radar
wood.
detector?
Huh? A radar detector?
It would be cheaper than paying for all the driving school.
Yeah, well, I learned a lot there. I will say that, and one of the things that I did learn is about Kentucky's, because the teacher of the class, and I actually know him.
Of course you do.
No,
Is he a relative?
It just so happened I know him. All right, it had nothing. To
You
do
are the most. You know everybody.
Yeah, well, I keep hearing that, but no,
You
I really
do, you do.
don't. But I just happen to know this guy, and he's very good at what he does.
Maybe it's more accurate to say he remembers more of the people he meet than the rest of us.
That could
That-
be.
that could
That could
be.
be.
Because I suck at remembering people.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
I've met them
I know
several times.
faces. I do not. I cannot
Yeah,
remember.
but
names.
I know I've met you, but I don't know who the heck you
Yeah,
are.
but he talked a lot about how the fact was there's that image out there that Kentucky is soft on drunk driving, and he
because of the bourbon.
and that's part of it. And there's a history because at one time
Yes.
they were, but he goes.
Everybody was at one time.
That's right.
Yeah.
But he goes through very clearly and very effectively the laws when they were passed, what they do, and how that is absolutely positively false. We are one of the harshest In fact, me as as deacon who
In the
who
US.
in the U.S. who preaches mercy, there ain't none to be found in a drunk driving area.
Well, a lot of
No.
that stems
we've-
from the Carrollton bus crash.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, and there's true that
1988.
I think that
Well,
was
and Mad.
that was around the time that the national consciousness was changing.
Yes,
too.
because that's when Mad and Dad and Sad, mothers, sons,
Right, that was-
students.
That's a lot of the
all of the above
against
comes
drug
together.
driving, yeah.
begin. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
the Carrollton bus crash really catapulted
Yes.
Kentucky into
And-
the
Now,
forefront of
of the issue.
safety and going
No,
A
after
And
lot of
that's-
things changed with
yes.
that. Yes.
But and that I think is part of a father's argument is that by putting our name on it, the archdiocesan name
yeah.
on it, it implies, well, he says that it can lead people to think that we don't think
You're-
imbibing
yeah.
is that big a deal. So
You could
have
be-
at it.
You could be seen as injuring those who have suffered because of
Yes.
alcoholism
Yes.
and
It
drunk
could be,
driving.
using the parlance of the day, which I know none of us are really subscribers of, very triggering.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But like the point that you made out, the product that they are selling is not for the bottom shelf
True.
abuser.
it's
I mean,
not
you're
really
gonna put
for
out almost
alcoholic.
$70 for a bottle of this stuff. I mean, that's
True.
not on the low end at all.
Yeah,
No, the
it's
alcoholic
not an
or-
$8 rot gut. It was
No.
$59 a bottle.
Yeah, the alcoholic who is the rich man, the poor man is the drunk, which is very true.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They are not going to be buying this bottle. However, it's the kind of thing that I think I think he has the argument has merit. Whether it has the far-reaching effect that he thinks it might is different.
Yeah.
But I think it can say, well, it's okay.
Well,
Come to confession, we'll
mean,
forgive it, and you'll be okay.
Yeah.
For
We
this,
better flip on back to Martin over here.
Yes,
Get
yes,
back
yes,
on
yes.
track.
I'll just-
We went
yeah.
way off. that
We
rabbit
did,
hole.
we did.
I'll just
I
leave
knew
it
we
at-
would.
at this comment that to this heathen, it's not that big a difference in selling beer at a church picnic. So if you get the
kind of where I land too.
if you get the opportunity, go to the Boiler House restaurant in downtown or directly to the facility
At
in
Log
Nelson
Still.
County at Log Still Distillery. Get a bottle of Faithfully Crafted. A few of your pennies will go to the Archdiocese, which will then support recovery programs
That's correct.
in
Possibly.
general. Not directly,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
it
'cause-
supports the Archdiocese, who supports
who does a lot of
We're
work
good.
with those in need.
Yes.
They do.
Absolutely, we
leave
do.
it at that. Leave it at that.
And I'm looking forward to trying it. I have not opened my bottle. Yes, even this heathen bought a bottle. So, but
I bought a
He was
bottle.
kind of peer pressured into it because he wasn't going to
I
at
wasn't
first.
going to at first, but well, I ran out of space to put them on my thing there. I've been buying quite a few bottles.
Well, you will not regret buying that bottle, considering it is a limited edition.
We'll open it
may
to your
not be
baptism.
available next
You know,
time.
The hard part
Hey,
was
yeah.
the hard part was getting him to pry those coins out from between his butt cheeks.
Well, we just gave him some copper wire and let him swallow them, and money came out the other end.
No, it's the other way around. I take copper pennies and turn them into wire.
Wire, yes.
That's right.
All right, lead us.
Yes,
lead us back.
According to Cajun, it's excellently flavored. So I'm looking forward to us having
Yes,
it on
and
the
most of us
show.
have a bottle, and
We all well, yes, you don't yet.
Andre has yet to, but
I
I'm
guess,
sure
I
you will.
guess- I guess I should send mine in to have the Archbishop sign it before Philip's letter gets out.
Yes,
Let's not mention
the
him.
pastor.
The pastor.
The pastor.
sorry.
Pastor.
Oh, I said what his
I mean,
title was, so anybody
does-
can look that up.
Does he like? Is he like the official pastor of Snakes and Otters, or
Kind of.
Kinda, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he himself is a bourbon aficionado.
Yes,
He
and-
is.
and is way above us in
and
both his
a
collection
cigar
and in his.
aficionado.
I don't know that he has more than Cajun, but
I
I've
don't
not
know.
count-
He's
He's
got
got some
he's got a
good-
wall full.
yes,
some
but
good
there's
shit.
a good deal of his though is non-bourbon. So he's
okay.
got the 4 racks, which are really nice. The metal and wood shelves that he's got.
No,
and
those racks.
to the left. Yeah, he's lost a lot of weight.
He
doesn't-
has.
Yeah, he
looking
doesn't have
good.
those kind of racks anymore. The ones to the left are the scotches, the wines, and what have you, and then the ones on the right.
I just presumed it was all bourbon. I did
no,
not
the ones on the
realize
right
that.
are the bourbon.
Okay.
So
Got it.
he may have more variety than Cajun because Cajun has a lot of duplicate bottles. in some.
Not much.
that
I see a lot of those bottles sitting behind.
Those are all the ones behind I got at Bourbon Festival this year. Those are all new product.
Yeah, those are not the same as
Those
what's
are-
in.
I do have.
He's
a
just
few
run out of room.
pictures of like the 12-year-old Evans and the 18-year-old Knob
Okay,
Creek, 'cause
I
you
just assumed the
don't
ones
come
behind
across
them
it
were
that
the same.
much.
Oh no, they're not. Most of them aren't.
No, all them other ones. The new
Well, I can't see
second
the
row-
labels, so
Yeah. The new second row is the 20, 30 bottles I acquired this past Bourbon Festival.
yes, you did indulge
yeoman's
Yeah.
heavily. Yes.
Yeah, it's like 18 bottles a day or something.
It was
there, yeah.
it was multiple trips, back
Yes.
and forth and back and forth.
You know, you said the pastor is an aficionado, guest star on the podcast.
I
one day?
don't know that he would come on the podcast or not. It would be interesting because we'd have to come up with a topic he'd be interested in.
Well, we could do a hoop
Moral
on one-
theology?
Well, we could do a hoop and let him just kind of go, and we just
Yes, it would end up being. He would be I think would be one of the best guests that we could have because it would be all in one person. All of the things that we bring,
yeah.
smartassery,
Yes, he does that well.
theology,
Yes.
deep thought, pondering those eternal questions, talking about serious issues. Now he's not going to have he doesn't have the trivia in his head that we do, though. It's like he would never be able to go. He's like he detests going to trivia nights because he can never remember the stuff that you need to know for that.
Does he listen to the podcast?
Not that I'm aware of. He
Okay.
could, but I don't think he does.
Is it a sin to kidnap a priest?
I guess it depends on whether or not you release him in time.
Happens
No,
all
we
the
just
time
tell him
in
we have a
other
very
countries.
special bottle of bourbon we need him to trace try.
Okay.
Now,
There
if
you
he
go.
comes on his own and comes in the door, then that's not kidnapping.
That's right. That's right.
That was free will.
Although
It's
I
a
think
improper
recording.
imprisonment.
Yeah,
Now,
it-
duct tape into the chair with the headphones on and microphone in front of him, that might be considered
That might
kidnapping.
yes.
unlawful imprisonment.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Held
Now
against will.
the third floor of the rectory would be a fine place to record. I'm just saying.
Well, if that's what it takes to get him on the show and for us to go to him, we can make that happen.
Yeah, but they say that you really shouldn't perform with either children or pets or animals, and I don't know if we're adult enough to.
Oh, definitely.
Well,
Well, not adult enough.
Considering he has given, I think everybody in this room except
I've
Cajun
never met him.
and you, because you don't imbibe. He's given all the rest of us
Yeah.
alcohol. It is both legally and morally safe for us to be in the same room with him.
Okay.
That's true. Well, the first time I had Pappy was at.
Yes, he was my first pappy as
That's
well.
right. And in fact, because you supposedly only get one, and I got two out of him. So
Yes.
he must like me in something.
Yes, you're going to get the bottom shelf to make up for it.
I can't listen to this. Y'all change the subject before I open my mouth and say something really bad. Come on, move on.
Martin needs to come. Come on.
Martin's the captain.
He said pappy, not daddy.
And
Well,
he said
I
he
was
got it twice from
trying
him,
to
too.
wind it up by saying go out and buy a bottle of the faithfully crafted.
Bring us back to the director.
All right.
Or
What's
the
your least
pappy.
favorite movie by this man fella? How's that? Let's hit on the least favorite.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen some of the later films. I haven't seen Ali. I haven't seen Insider or Collateral. He has one that's kind of a bomb that he made right after Heat called The Keep. It's kind of a horror film. Nazis and ghosts and
Which you think
weirdness.
would be a winning combination.
So is that a sequel to Indiana Jones?
It's actually in a similar vein to
And-
Indiana Jones, really.
And not
Nazis and
unlike,
ghosts,
not
they
unlike
all-
Indiana Jones. If Indy had done nothing,
Nothing.
the movie would have
You've been
ended
watching
exactly
Big Bang
the
also,
same.
ain't you?
Yes.
No, the ark
I
would not have ended
disagree.
up in the warehouse.
I disagree because Tot followed Indy. Tot would not have known where to find Marion if he hadn't followed Indy.
Okay.
So, anyway, The Keep, his original director's cut is like close to 3 hours. And the studio cut it to 96 minutes.
Wow.
So you
Wow.
lose a lot of his vision.
Yeah.
So there's no telling what he really did, but it was kind of a bomb. It's
Jeez,
been-
just add in 20 minutes to get it closer to 2 hours.
yeah,
could
and
have made all the
But
difference.
so
Made it-
the
might have made
director's
it make
cut
sense.
is available then? His original
no, it
3
has
hour?
never been
No,
released.
okay, that's what I was wondering.
been
Well, that's a
released.
shame because, honestly, Nazis and ghosts and stuff. I would love to see that.
I'd give it a shot watching
yeah.
it.
It's got a very eccentric setting, like in a cave in Romania.
Yeah, it's in Romania. Yeah.
So it's
I read that on
very
the.
unusual.
Also, Romania, they got to be vampires.
Yeah, so and it's pretty weird. Thief has been quite a long time since I've seen any chunks of Thief.
It's his first directorial
Yeah,
debut.
first effort.
And it was well received in '81.
Yeah.
It was
Very stylish, and of course Jimmy Caan, you can't go too far wrong there.
Right.
Sonny Corleone. Yeah.
Well,
I got a question.
I preferred him in Rollerball.
Yeah. Rollerball was excellent. Yes, loved that. But I do have a question. So a lot of the directors that we've discussed on the show have either been known for a single genre, John Ford, westerns,
Yeah, Western.
Yes.
or they revisit the same themes quite a bit.
Yes.
So, how do those kinds of things fit with Michael Mann? What
So,
makes him
That's
notable
Yeah, that's an excellent question.
in
Um,
that sense?
Even though he has not completely stuck to it, he has done other things, much like John Ford didn't only do westerns.
Right, but that's what he's known for.
But
yeah.
Mann, in particular, is known for the crime dramas.
Yes.
Again, Miami Vice, he was a producer on the original television show, and then ended up directing the TV or the film adaptation with Colin Farrell and Jamie Foxx.
Yes, I still roll over thinking of that.
And again, we've discussed Heat, we've discussed Manhunter. So he's known for these crime dramas.
What is it about them then that? So that's genre, but is there anything beyond genre that?
Yeah, so that's the next
The
piece.
cinematography.
The
Well, that's craft, and craft
Yeah.
is certainly,
Yes.
Yes.
for
Yes.
all of the guys that we've talked about, craft is
but
always.
but
part of
again, this thing that he explores probably the most is the driven man. That like the Nietzschean quote: "If you look into the abyss looks back." And so, even his interpretation of of Miami Vice, which is just kind of, Miami Vice on TV was just sort of it's almost like a chocolate candy, It wasn't, they tried to make it feel super dangerous, but it didn't always. It just felt like cool dudes in cool clothes driving a cool car, a lot.
Yeah.
Well, let's rephrase it. Cool clothes for the 80s.
For the 80s, yes. Yes, the
Unconstructed jackets.
wicker
and
shoes with no socks.
socks,
Yes.
Yeah, linen jackets and trousers,
And the stubble, yeah.
Yeah.
and the t-shirt, the colored
Colored
t-shirts,
T-shirts.
The
underneath.
pastel
Pastel,
t-shirts. Yes.
Well, location had some influence
Yes.
on that
The
too
cigarette
now.
boats and the Ferrari and all
Yes.
that. So,
Yes.
but even in the film, it's this idea of the good guys. Just how far do they go?
Mm-hmm.
How
Push 'em to their limits.
How twisted can you make the good guy?
And still be good.
And still be good. Again, this study of Vincent Hanna, his personal life a complete disaster. He's so driven. There's a scene in the film. John Voight playing the fence, Nate, who is also excellent, is sitting with
always
De
is.
Niro and Neil McCauley, and they're discussing, because they of course have a police informant, what Hanna thinks of McCauley, and it's, look how sharp this guy is. He does this sharp, he does that sharp. And so, what do you think this guy? You think he's going home to the wife every night? No, he's out there. He's a nut. You need to just run. Forget about all the scores and just run. This guy comes after people.
Yeah.
And Macaulay is too dedicated to what he needs to do to listen to that advice. And that's this, and of course the very famous scene of it was the first scene ever in which De Niro and Pacino are in the same scene together. Of course they're in Godfather too, but because of the storytelling, the non-linear narrative of Godfather 2,
Well, yeah, because
they're not in any of the same
because
scenes.
De Niro's character is Vito Corleone in the
Vito.
40s, whereas this is much later. So
Well, no, in like the
it was-
20s.
well, yeah, it's true. 20. Excuse me.
So this is, it's kind of this landmark scene with these two Titan actors.
Actually, are together.
Yeah, in the same scene. They're in this coffee shop, and You know, De Niro's like, I mean, do you see me doing liquor store holdups with "Born to Lose" tattooed on my chest? And you know, Pacino says, "No, I do not." So there's this recognition that both of them are at the top of the game, but what they've given up of any kind of actual life is stark. You know.
Well, the one of the themes that man
Be
goes
careful
back
what you wish
to.
for.
Yeah. One of well,
Well-
that's very well put, because it's very much man is very good at going back to what are the consequences
Yeah.
in the pursuit of goals, in the pursuit of whatever it is that in his world borders on obsession usually.
Yeah.
So he's working into what does an obsessed person look like, and how does that pervert or twist this pursuit,
Right.
which is a very
Ooh.
human way of going about
Yeah,
things.
yeah.
It-
And
Sounds
that's-
like you're foretelling a little bit on what the next episode is to come, almost
Say,
in that description.
yes.
Yes,
Go ahead. What?
No,
that's Brother Andre's
he's
quote. We're gonna be
saying
doing
you,
on
you
the
are
next
foreshadowing.
Foreshadowing. Quote.
You're
Foreshadowing
foretelling-
our code of honor.
The code of honor. That's
So-
right. Yes, sir.
episode. With your description there, seems to fit along
A
lines
bit, yes,
of
a
what
bit.
we'll be discussing.
Yes, because
coming
we've
up.
been given the quote for next
Right.
episode.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think what again, I am not familiar with filmography, so I
Yeah.
say this up front, just so that if I am miss the mark, that's okay. At least from my perspective, 'cause I don't give a damn. But yeah, I think from what I'm hearing, it sounds more like to me, and again, it could be both. Like you go back to the cop and the villain, the criminal. There's the old saying, takes a killer to catch a killer.
Yeah.
And that's very much going to be that same kind of situation.
Right.
And I think it sounds like there's a lot of that kind of exploring, is that, not just that you have to be, because we talked about, you have to think like, whoever the villain, who was it in Red Dragon,
The Tooth Fairy.
the Tooth Fairy.
Yeah,
You gotta
Red
think-
Dragon.
Red Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
think like the
Right.
serial murderer to be able to, and how do you remain? How do you be how do you think like a serial killer, and go home and have a wife and kids?
How do you unplug from it?
Yeah, how do you unplug from that? And I think that brings up, because that's a real life question. That's not just a
Right. And again, that
Which,
is his
you know.
focus through many of his films, including
Last of the Mohicans.
Last of the Mohicans.
right.
Yes.
Yes, very
is,
much so.
Again, the idea that these driven men are two sides of the same coin. They're not that far different. It's just one's goal is evil and one is hoping for a good outcome.
Well, but from their perspective, it's the one that
Right.
we would call evil. He thinks his goal is good.
Right. And,
Sure. Yeah.
it's not really even, again, a comment on morality in any way. It's just a comment on this human nature of once you become a driven individual,
Yeah.
what that does to you.
Once fanaticism takes over,
Fanaticism, I think, is a very good word.
Well, but it doesn't even have to be fanaticism.
Not at all.
But,
It's
but
just-
because you can have two mutually exclusive, 100% mutually exclusive goals that are good
hmm
and are in opposition to one another.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I think that can make for a better story, because,
yeah,
there's, or if you want to take two, mutually exclusive evils,
Right. I mean,
I think
Good,
either one
good.
can sometimes make
you
a
know,
better
our
story.
struggle with vigilantism or
Yes.
something like that. I mean,
Right,
why
yes.
is the Punisher are so compelling a character?
Prime example too, Victor
Well-
Von Doom. Is Doom
Yes.
ever wrong? Doom is always right.
one,
right.
one of the
Doom
key,
is doom.
one of the key things that Mann has done in every one of his films is take it and look at it like this. You've got two people that are diametrically opposed almost in a lot of the cases. And instead of doing what you're talking about, which is looking at people that are same things, kind of, but looking at their differences, he's looking at what draws these people to be more alike than different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
He's leaning into similarities.
He does. He's
Right.
he-
So
I wasn't saying that he wasn't.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
yeah.
but that's what he's done in.
it's
in all of his
it's a
movies.
study in contrastings.
It is.
Contrasts.
How do you push the moral man into the giant mess?
Yeah,
How,
Well-
how do you turn him into something that
Yeah,
and be
and is
violent.
the immoral man still justifiable, at least on his own mind, in some
Yeah.
way, for
Oh.
being as he is? Magua, for example,
Yeah.
Well,
his wife, and he was he was brutalized,
Right.
and he's seeking revenge.
So this is not a Michael Mann thing, but it could very well have been influenced by some of his work. But it's that exact thing that you're talking about. I'm sure most of you are, and many of our listeners, I'm sure as well, are familiar with Dexter.
I was wondering if we would go there, yeah, because
So because
Yes.
that is very much
I'm sure it's heavily influenced by man. Yeah.
someone who is, by all standards, societal standards, evil.
yeah,
But he is using his evil to do good. Now, what's interesting is he starts out as he has no emotions, but eventually you come to find out he does, because he ends up getting married, adopting their kids, and has one with her, and then of course she's brutally murdered by another serial killer, and which of course, why not? That's exactly how that would go. And you come to find out that he does, but it's interesting to see that juxtaposition of him and the cops around him. Like the one of the cops, the first one that is onto him, is very much that he's willing to go to any length to get Dexter, because for whatever reason he suspects he doesn't like Dexter from the very beginning. He thinks there's something wrong with him. But anyways, that's just a great example of
Yes.
that. But nobody else sees it, is the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he has a code that he lives by.
So let me give you two more pieces, and then we'll close up the
Yeah,
episode.
we're at 115. Yeah.
Okay. So one other hallmark for man is the use of music.
Mm-hmm.
He Tangerine Dream, Jan Hammer,
yeah.
the sort of new age, funky, electronic, electronic music.
Yeah.
That's prevalent throughout. Heat has kind of this unusual soundtrack. Manhunter especially does. So he likes to use music for the effect.
Well, yeah, I mean, Last Mohicans is very different in style. It's Randy Edelman, but it's orchestral and it is
Yes.
majestic. It is huge, but it is. I mean that soundtrack has sold gazillion copies because it is
It's as
absolutely.
big as the scenery is in the movie.
It very much is. It's one of those. I mean, it's one of the most powerful soundtracks to ever
Well,
come out.
if the soundtrack doesn't enhance the movie, then it's a bad soundtrack, and that's the thing. This is obviously a different kind of example.
But he really
but-
goes in a different direction
Right.
than most directors would
But
with the music.
but
Yeah.
that fits what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's like, how many people would think that the Empire is all that scary if you don't have the Imperial March.
Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly.
Deutschland, Deutschland.
Right.
Sorry.
So
wrong film.
so
They're not exactly singing Edelweiss there.
yeah.
Exactly.
Edelweiss, Edelweiss. Oh, it's the proper time of the year, but wrong movie.
Yeah, that's pretty good, Cajun. I like that. And then I'll just leave you with this
Our own Von
last
Trapp singer.
piece to contemplate as we wrap up. The last scene in Heat, De Niro and Pacino are running through LAX. Basically, Pacino has already told him, I won't hesitate to put you down. I mean, we're sitting here drinking coffee and we're all friendly and everything, but I will put you down. And De Niro replies with, I'm not going back. So yeah, I will. I'll put you down too. I like you. We're hanging out, but I'll drop you if I have to. So it's a running gun battle at LAX. Hannah wins. Yeah, spoiler.
Oh, the good
Spoiler
guy
of a
wins?
30-year-old film.
Oh, the somewhat good guy.
And the last scene is Macaulay's shot in the chest. He's leaning over like some kind of luggage carrier, and Hannah holds his hand as he expires. That show of respect at
That
the
is
end.
a brilliant way of laying something out there. You may have had to do something that you shouldn't do or that was necessary, but it's bad, but you still have that humanity to recognize, I'll help you.
Yeah,
It's
I give
They
you some
understood each
comfort
other
in
on
this.
some level.
Yeah, it's a wonderful trope that you don't always see, but and that's a good thing because I think you've got to be a really good storyteller to make that work.
Right.
Something I'm surprised you have not brought up: Londo and Jakar.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's
Yeah,
the same kind of thing. They are two sides of a coin,
and they hate each other,
but they are friends.
but they end up friends, and especially they are friends, and they end up together as friends, and they
they're
can
frenemies.
frenemies, and they
Yeah.
but it's believable.
But it is
It's
believable.
all right.
Yes.
You can trust that, and ironically, they are at each other's end as well, or at least at Londo's end.
Yeah.
And
So yeah, it's a very, very similar idea.
Yeah, but it's such a powerful theme and idea that when it's done well, I mean, you can't help but marvel at the execution.
Yeah. Heat is an incredible film. Very famous for the big shootout in the middle of downtown Los Angeles.
Well, how's that different than any other Saturday night?
People cite it as like, this happened in real life after. Like, the bad guys looked at this and figured out, how to do things.
Well, from what I see on the news lately, your hometown here in Louisville ain't getting much better.
I mean, in a lot of Mann's films, gunfire is part of the soundtrack almost. I mean, he had a habit of using full grain blanks.
Yeah, he
full
uses
grain, full load.
full power blanks and recording that and not going back in and
no
dubbing
touch-ups.
stock. Yeah. So if you watch Heat on your 5.1 Dolby system, you will feel like you are standing next to Chris Hurlis as he blasts
Yes.
an AR at the LA cops. It's like, wow. So let's wrap that up. And Francis, brother, what is next time?
we're going to Code of Honor next time, and we're here at Brother Andre's wonderful casa, and he has given us his quotation ahead of time. I will not spoil that, but it is
I expect good discussion.
absolutely. It's a very famous quotation. This is one you may have heard of. We're not going obscure here. We're going with a very famous one, and I think that you will find, as always, the eternal questions abound, and we will be here next episode to pursue them.
We hope you enjoyed another pointless discussion of eternal questions. Remember, new episodes drop every second and fourth Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern, just in time for your morning commute. And every fifth Friday, we drop a special Hoopajoob episode. Spread the word we are on all the major platforms, and leave us a review. That helps others find us. We're also on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, as well as our website, snakesandotters.com. Join us next time, same snake time, same otter channel.